Today, I'm bringing you some really heavy and weighty truths. This hit me like a 2x4 across the head. I'm reading a book by author John Bevere called The Awe of God. In chapter 10, he highlights a couple of key scriptures in Isaiah and Acts that bring an interesting correlation with how we handle money. Isaiah 29:15 reads, "What sorrow awaits those who try to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their evil deeds in the dark. The Lord can't see us," they say. "He doesn't know what's going on." In my mind, it's crazy to think that the Omniscient wouldn't know what's happening both in our hearts and in our minds with the plans we've made. The writer continues and shortly afterwards brings up the story of Ananias and Sapphira. He brings context to these characters by talking about how wealthy the island of Cyprus is and how a Levite who sells his property and brings a very large offering to the church. So Ananias and his wife, not wanting to be outdone by this Levite, decide and scheme to do the same, only this time they withhold half of the offering, claiming it's the full deal. What pops into my head is this idea of scarcity versus abundance. I wonder what they were thinking in that moment. Don't get me wrong, I have made plenty of decisions. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. It could have been jealousy that drove that decision. It could have been pride, since they may have been known by the church as the ones who were the most generous. Maybe they weren't receiving as much attention and were angry that someone else was in the spotlight. Whatever the motive, the result was fatal and cost both Ananias and Sapphira their lives. The reason this is important is because God sees your heart. He understands and knows your intentions. Being a good steward of the resources God has called you to manage is one way to show him that you understand your assignment and want to bless others through sacrificial giving. That may not always mean monetarily, but for those of you who are struggling with tithing 10%, this may be exactly what you needed to hear. I'm not casting judgment on you, not at all. But what I want you to do is wrestle with the fact that if you were in Ananias and Sapphira's shoes and were blessed with a large annual salary, would you hold back? Thanks for listening.